Hey folks, welcome to Win Anyway Live. A little bit later this morning, got up late. Didn't mean to get up late, actually. Well, anyway, Themeless Thursday. Themeless Thursday means I don't have to talk about anything specific. I still have to talk about something, but nothing specific. Now, why did I get up late? Okay, circle back. I was going to get up early. I was going to get up at 5:30 and take my shower and get ready and get going, get down here at 6. But for some inexplicable reason, my wife got up at 5:30 and she took over the bathroom, which meant I stayed in bed. And I said, hey, wake me up when you're out of the bathroom so I could at least get going then. And apparently she did wake me up, but she didn't wake me up. She said she was done, but I didn't hear her because I was asleep. So I didn't get up for another half an hour. So not only did I not get up early, but I ended up getting up late. That just happens. Just happens, I guess. Maybe I should get in a second bathroom. That might help me out. So what do I want to talk about today? You look at my office, you're seeing the back side of my office. I have one bookshelf that, frankly, has a whole bunch of comic books in it. Archives from old 1960s comics, all compiled so that I can read them instead of spending a fortune trying to collect them all individually, because I'm not really allowed to do that anymore at this point in my life. Maybe someday, maybe 10 years from now, when I'm a zillionaire, I can go back and buy all the original issues. But I have a feeling my wife won't let me do it then either. And you see my little enterprise up above. What you don't see is what's in front of me. And I'm not going to flip the camera around and make you feel like you're on a roller coaster to see it, but I've got 3 screens. I've got one big screen here that goes to my newest computer, which my son built for me so that it's super fast. And if I ever buy a video game, I'll actually be able to play the video game as fast as he does. And then here I've got a laptop from work and a second screen that goes to my laptop from work for my actual day job. So, in case you're wondering what my day job is, I sell newspaper advertising. Yes, newspapers still exist. I work for the Boulder Daily Camera and handle a couple of different sales territories for them. But up above here, I have a lot of books. I'd say I probably have 60 to 75 books in front of me. And I've read, a little over half of them. A lot of books on sales and speaking, on attitude, a couple of nonfiction books, a couple of actual fiction books, and some biographies that I haven't gotten into yet. Ben Franklin, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein. So I do like biographies, I just haven't gotten into them. And for the most part, all the books I've read in the last few years have been Audible. I still buy books that are actual real paper, but I don't spend time actually reading them. I got to figure that out. I did read a book last year that is an actual real book. The One Thing, by Gary Keller with J. Papasan. Although from what I've heard, Gary Keller, who is the founder of the Keller Real Estate Group, actually didn't write most of it. That Jay pretty much wrote the whole thing and Keller put his name on it. But whatever. Yeah, what do I care? The One Thing comes from the movie City Slickers, which my family watched last week. None of my kids had seen it. Of course, I saw it in the theaters. My wife saw it in the theaters. And Curly talks about the one thing to the Billy Crystal character, about, what all you have to have in life is that one thing, which makes a lot of sense when you're in a movie theater and just the one thing, especially when you're in your 20s, like the one thing's easy, one thing. So the older you get, the more one things you have. And the book talks about the one thing, but it talks about more than one thing, because you have sub one things. You have the one thing, and then you have underneath the one thing all these other divisions of who you are and what you do, and each one of those things have a one thing, and then you have time carved out below that, and each of those have a one thing. So you end up not having a one thing, you end up having 25 things or 50 things that you have to keep track of. So the one thing is kind of a myth, except at the very highest possible level. Maybe your one thing is your relationship with God. Maybe your one thing is your relationship with your spouse and your family. Maybe your one thing is your devotion to fitness. I don't know. I don't know what your one thing is. And there's also a difference between the one thing we think we should have and the one thing we actually have. You can always tell your one thing by really taking a look at taking stock of what you do in life. Although sometimes I wonder if that would make my one thing scrolling the internet, which I don't like that. That doesn't look favorably on me. I would like to think, and I would like to think that I devote enough time and that everything I do does dovetail back into my one thing, which is God, my spouse, and my family. And I can't separate them. I mean, God is the ultimate, but my spouse and my family is my ultimate here. And it's all intertwined. So I don't know, my one thing is three things? I guess that's spiritual. 3 in 1, 1 in 3. But that's another podcast, right? Another video cast. So it's been Themeless Thursday. I think I've kind of had a theme. Do I recommend the one thing? Sure, it's a great book. People love the book. It's full of, frankly, a lot of cliches, things that you've heard before, that you'll read in other books. But, that's kind of the way we live, isn't it? We hear motivational speakers, and they don't tell us anything new. They simply remind us of what we've forgotten to be doing, something we heard from somebody else years before and years before that. That's why there's not just one self-help book on the bookshelf in Barnes & Noble or on Amazon, because we need to read the same things. We need to be constantly reminded. And at different times in our life, different things will hit us in different ways. Different things will be important to us than were important to us 10 years ago, which means your one thing is going to change over time. Speaking of time, I can tell my heater's about to kick on, so I better be done. Hopefully you're having a fantastic Thursday, and we'll continue to make it a great Win Anyway day. We'll see you tomorrow on Win Anyway Live.